Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Mzansi Business. Tiger Brands, a company you may or may not have heard of, but I can guarantee that you have certainly used their products. My man, I'm talking about the Albany bread, the Old Gold tomato sauce, Ross, Energy, Jelly Tots, Black Cat peanut butter, and honestly, I could go on and on. Over their century-long existence, Tiger Brands has gone on to become South Africa's and Africa's biggest food producer. But, as you know, usually with these major conglomerates, there's always some bit of controversy involved. And in Tiger Brands' case, we have a bread-fixing scandal, a listeriosis outbreak, and a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm sure you can tell that we have a lot to cover. So, without further ado, this is a story of Tiger Brands. The Tiger brand story begins with a German-born man known as Jacob Frankel, who hailed from a generation of merchants. Jacob eventually chose to seek a new life in South Africa in 1896 and later joined a family company of produce dealers who dealt with maize, grains, peanuts, and animal feed. At that point, South Africa's oats industry hadn't been established, relying on imported Scottish oats, and Jacob wanted to change this. He formed his own oatery called the Tiger Oatery in 1920, but it was only in 1921, with some financial assistance from entrepreneur Geoffrey Marx, was he able to kickstart operations of his oatery, the Tiger Oatery in the Western Cape. 4 years later, 1925, Tiger Oatery launched their first product, the Jungle Oats breakfast cereal. The iconic Jungle Oats logo was one of the first logos to be trademarked in South Africa, and for a fun fact, Jungle Oats fed the Allied soldiers in World War II. And we all love Jungle Oats. It's one of those things that either you love it or you hate it. Over the years, they have moved on from just the traditional oats to energy and cereal bars, different varieties of mueslis, different flavors and variations of the oats, cereal, and even this Jungle Oats drink. In 1930, Tiger Oats opened up a second mill in Cape Town when demand outgrew the first mill's capacity. In 1940, a company known as Alderton Limited was acquired by Tiger Milling. This Alderton company first launched the Black Cat peanut butter brand in 1926. Black Cat today has become a household name in South Africa and has been recognized as SA's most loved and trusted peanut butter brand. Okay, so we know that Black Cat came under the Tiger Brands portfolio in 1940, right? Also in 1940, the Koo brand was established by the Langerberg Cooperative. And this is one of the companies where I'm not sure when Tiger Brands acquired a stake in, but Koo initially produced canned fruit. A year after being established, Koo introduced canned vegetables and soon followed with the launch of tomato paste and baked beans. Nowadays, Koo got the beetroot, the chakalaka, the samp and bean mix, and a whole host of other stuff. Also in 1940, the Golden Cloud Flour brand was launched in South Africa. The Tiger Brands milling operations also has the Ace Maize Meal brand under them, but for some reason I can't find when this brand was officially launched, not even on the Ace website. In 1944, Tiger Oats and a company known as National Milling Company Limited were incorporated and listed on the JSE. In 1953, the Purity baby food brand was launched in South Africa. Over the years, Purity has become a trusted brand for mothers of infant children. They have also launched various products and even partnered with Elizabeth Ann to produce products specially designed for babies. In 1959, All Gold tomato sauce began being produced on a massive scale in South Africa. All Gold first launched in 1908 at a jam manufacturing company in the Western Cape. All Gold tomato sauce prided itself in its unique recipe of putting 36 tomatoes in an All Gold bottle, and I'm sure you've seen some of the ads that emphasize that point.
Ricky, please report to gate 36.
Benny,
Yes?
just say that again.
Ricky, please report to gate 36.
Yeah, that bit at the end.
36?
I love the way you say 36.
36.
I've got a job for you.
Today, All Gold has a whole host of different sauces like the mustard sauce, 1,000 Islands, pasta sauce, onion and tomato mixes, diced tomatoes, and we can't forget about the iconic All Gold jam. They also have their own tomato juice and a flavor of chips with Simba. In 1961, Tastic Rice, the very first branded and packaged rice, is launched in South African supermarkets. Tastic has obviously been a hit in South African homes, also embracing new product varieties, even launching their own rice cakes, and even these Tastic rice chips. While speaking on rice, Tiger Brands also have stakes in the Cresta and Aunt Caroline rice brands. I can't find too much history on when those brands were first launched though. In the 1970s, Tiger Oats and National Milling, two major players in the South African food industry, acquired a number of independent bakeries. These acquisitions led to the creation of Albany Bakeries, a network of bakeries operating under the Albany brand. Albany Bakeries continued to grow, and in 1983, the Albany Bakery in Germiston was completed, becoming the largest bakery in South Africa at the time and representing 20% of the baking industry. Albany have continued innovating, launching many different product varieties and healthier bread options like their low GI bread, their Ultima range, and more recently releasing Albany Wraps. Albany Bakeries is also known for producing the Tinkies sponge cake. Not sure when they were first launched though. In 1982, Tiger Brands took over the controlling interest in a company known as United Macaroni Company, which later became known as Fatties and Monies. Monies was once a separate company known as Monies Brothers Limited and was officially established around 1906, and Fatties was also a separate company established in 1907. Both companies were manufacturers of macaroni, spaghetti, and pasta and were in an intense rivalry with each other until a peace treaty was signed by the two families in 1925. The name changed to Fatties and Monies sometime after the Tiger Oats deal in 1982. Also in 1982, a company known as Barlow Rand, now known as Barlow World, purchased a controlling stake in Tiger Oats. In 1988, Tiger Oats acquired the Spar South Africa brand. Spar is actually a multinational franchise that started in the Netherlands, which kind of surprised me to be honest, but this was obviously big for them as they could now use Spar, Quick Spar, and Super Spar to sell their products. Okay, I want to talk about Beacon Sweets now, but before I do, I have a quick question for you. Have you ever wanted to purchase something from Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree, or OLX, but just couldn't tell the seller is legit or not? Well, I got the perfect platform for you. Pop It Please. Pop It Please is a secure platform and is built for everyday people making high-trust transactions with strangers, whether online or in person. It works like an escrow service. So if you're buying, let's say, a second-hand iPhone from Facebook Marketplace, right, and you're trying to avoid being scammed, you could make the payment through Pop It Please, who will keep the money in escrow, and once both parties are satisfied, the money will be released to the seller. Pop It Please can also be used for any type of deal or service. For example, paying for once-off freelance work like photography or repairs, and even has other use cases for things like securing deposits. It's also super simple to use. I popped in my details and initiated a payment in under 5 minutes. Payments are secured by PayFast, giving you peace of mind that your payment details are secure. And once both me and the seller signed off on the digital contract, the funds were released to the seller, in which he received in less than an hour. And just like that, no ghosting, no drama, no fraud. There are also no subscriptions, just a one-time fee for each transaction that you do. And the next time you're buying or selling goods to a stranger, rather be safe than sorry and use Pop It Please. And a big shout out to the guys over at Pop It Please for sponsoring this video. Amazing work that you guys are doing. Okay, back to the story. In 1989, Tiger Oats acquired a 50% stake in confectionery company Beacon Sweets. Let me give you a brief history on this company. Founded in 1931 after a man known as Hemi Zulman acquired two confectioneries in Durban. The name Beacon was adopted in 1936, and in 1938 they started making Beacon chocolate. In 1939, they formed an alliance with Maynard Sweets, allowing them to produce their products. Beacon Sweets has introduced iconic chocolates to South Africa, such as TV Bar, Nosh, Wonder Bar, Damasco, Heavenly, amongst others, and also introduced candies such as Jelly Tots, Fizzes, Fizz Pop, Smoothies, Sparkles, and so many others. Tiger Oats eventually acquired the remaining 50% share of Beacon Sweets somewhere in the late 90s to own it fully. In 1998, Tiger Oats acquired food packaging company Imperial Cold Storage Company. And I'm not sure what brands that this company had under them, but I know one for sure was the Sea Harvest brand. Sea Harvest was one of the biggest fishing companies in South Africa, and I'm sure you've seen or used their products. They have since sold their stake in Sea Harvest though in 2008. And while we're on the topic of fish, right, Tiger Brands also at some point had a stake in the Oceania Group. I just can't figure out when, but the Oceania Group had the Lucky Starfish under them. And once again, Tiger Brands also sold their stake in this company somewhere around 2019. In 1999, Tiger Oats expanded into Chile, acquiring leading Chilean-based company Carossi, a company that produced a variety of foodstuffs in various Latin American markets. In the year 2000, Tiger Oats completed a major 3.4 billion rand deal, acquiring pharmaceutical company Adcock Ingram. Adcock Ingram had brands such as the Ingram's Cream, health supplements like BioPlus, and medicines such as Panado, Alcofelix, Allergex, and a whole host of others. After these buyouts, Tiger Oats was renamed Tiger Brands. In 2003, Tiger Brands bought the remaining 50% of Enterprise Foods to own it fully. And I'm not sure when they acquired their initial 50% share, but we all know Enterprise Foods, a company that deals in cold meat products. In 2004, Tiger Brands unbundled Spar South Africa and listed the company on the JSE separately. In 2006, Tiger Brands announced its acquisition of Bromo Foods for 1.1 billion rands. The brands under Bromo Foods included Oros, a brand that was founded by Mr. Charles Brooks in 1899 and originally came in the lemon flavor. They would eventually release new flavors and also introducing the super recognizable Oros mascots. Other brands on the Bromo Foods portfolio was the Hall's Juice brand, the Rosé's Juice, and the iconic Energade brand. Energade was launched in 1993 as South Africa's first sports drink. By 1999, they were the main hydration partner for the Springboks and have used sponsorships to increase their brand awareness, including sponsoring Bafana Bafana, Banyana Banyana, and the Proteas netball team. Over the years, they have released many different flavors, Energade sweets, and even releasing a sugar-free version of the drink, and even later releasing an energy drink, Energade Boost. Also in 2006, Tiger Brands acquired Nestlé's sugar confectionery business, which had brands such as Wilson, Fruit Tips. Nestle also had their own jelly tots. That same year, 2006, they also acquired washing powder manufacturer Classic Clean through their subsidiary Adcock Ingram. The brands that Classic Clean manufactured were the BioClassic washing powder brand. They also had home and sanitary products under the Classic and Crystal labels. In 2007, we get our first bit of controversy. Tiger Brands was fined a crazy 98.8 million rand by the South African Competition Commission for colluding with other bread producers to raise the price of bread by between 30 cents and 35 cents per loaf. The Competition Commission listed 4 companies involved: Tiger Brands, Premier Foods, Food Corp, and Pioneer Foods, which controlled more than 90% of the wheat flour market at the time. The commission also said that these companies have been fixing the price of bread for at least 12 years. It is said that these companies facilitated these price fixing activities through secret meetings and telephone calls between employees of these firms. And obviously, these price fixing activities had a negative effect on both consumers as a whole, as well as making it harder for smaller bakeries to become effective competitors. In 2008, Tiger Brands unbundled and separately listed Adcock Ingram on the JSE. They would also extend their footprint in Africa, acquiring controlling stakes in a company known as Hako Industries in Kenya and Chococam of Cameroon, a manufacturer of cocoa-based products. They have since sold their stake in Hako Industries of Kenya, which happened in 2018. In 2009, Tiger Brands acquired the Cross and Blackwell brand from Nestlé. We all know Cross and Blackwell. It's an established brand in South African homes. And just for information's sake, it is not a South African brand. The original company was established in London. In 2011, Tiger Brands acquired a company known as Davita, a South African exporter of powdered seasonings like Benny, as well as powdered beverages like the Jolly Just brand. That same year, Tiger Brands expanded aggressively into Africa by purchasing Daily Foods of Nigeria, a company engaged in the manufacturing of biscuits for the Nigerian market. They would also form a joint venture with UAC Foods Nigeria, though they exited this joint venture in 2021. Tiger Brands also formed a joint venture in Ethiopia in 2011 with the East Africa Group, but also exited this JV in 2016. In 2012, Tiger Brands acquired the Mrs. Ball's Chutney brand from Unilever South Africa for a price put at 475 million rand. It is said that this deal was limited to the intellectual property only, so pretty much just the trademark. Also in 2012, Tiger Brands acquired a controlling interest in Dangote flour mills in Nigeria for about 1.5 billion rands. The overcapacity of flour in the Nigerian market led this to becoming Tiger Brands' worst business decision ever. 2 years after making the acquisition, they wrote off half of their investment, and then ultimately in 2015, they threw in the towel and sold its stake in the flour mill back to Dangote for just a measly $1. In 2017, doctors started realizing an unusually high number of listeriosis infections. Listeriosis is an infection that can occur from the result of consuming contaminated cold meat. The National Institute for Communicable Diseases were notified, but by early December 2017, the virus had already taken the lives of 30 people. And by the end of December 2017, there were about 640 reported cases, and the death toll had doubled to 60. Investigations were ongoing, but they just couldn't pinpoint the exact source of the outbreak. A breakthrough only came in January 2018 when about 9 preschoolers, all under the age of 5, fell sick and were taken to the Chris Hani Hospital, where doctors suspected food poisoning, possibly listeriosis. Health practitioners were informed and visited the creche and took samples of the polony brands manufactured by Rainbow Chicken and Tiger Brands linked Enterprise Foods. When the samples returned from analysis, there was a breakthrough, but it was only about 2.5 months later, in March 2018, when there were now close to 1,000 cases and 180 fatalities, that the exact source was located. Health Minister at the time, Aaron Motsoaledi, announced that the disease was traced to the Enterprise Processed Meats factory linked to Tiger Brands in Polokwane. The plant was immediately closed and Enterprise products were pulled from shops nationwide. It seems that the pulling of the products from the shelves managed to contain the outbreak, although there were another 3 reported fatalities after the announcement. It is said that in total, there were more than 1,000 infections and approximately 216 deaths. The World Health Organization labeled it as the biggest listeriosis outbreak in the world. Now, obviously, this led to a lot of lawsuits for Tiger Brands. In December 2018, the South Gauteng High Court granted a certification order opening up the process for a class action lawsuit against Tiger Brands. It was only 7 years later, now in 2025, that Tiger Brands is settling with some of the claimants. In 2021, Tiger Brands celebrates 100 years in business. And I want to say that's the story of Tiger Brands up to this point. But there's so many brands that I didn't cover, mainly because I couldn't find out the history behind them. Brands like the Doom Insect Spray, the JS Fluid, Aroma, Peaceful Sleep, and some others that I missed in the home and personal care category. In the culinary category, the brands I missed were the Hugo's Jam, the Spray and Cook brand, Coleman sauces, which I think is under license, and I also missed the Ice Cap ice cream sauces. And I also forgot to speak about Morvite, a brand which history dates back to the 1920s. I'm sure that they do have other brands under them. This is probably just their core portfolio. In 2024, the company sold off a number of brands, including the BioClassic and BioCrystal brands. They also announced plans to sell off their Ace Maize Meal brand and another maize brand that they owned, King Corn. I'm not sure if this deal has went through though. They also sold off the Elizabeth Ann Purity products but kept the Purity Baby Nutrition products. So who owns Tiger Brands today? Well, since Tiger Brands is a publicly listed company, it is owned by a variety of shareholders. Here is a list of some of the main shareholders. The company makes tens of billions every year, with their latest annual revenue put at 37 billion rand. In conclusion, Tiger Brands stands as a significant force in the South African consumer goods market, demonstrating resilience and adaptability in an ever-evolving industry. Through its diverse product offerings, strategic initiatives, and commitment to quality, the company maintains a strong presence despite the challenges it has faced. If you like content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. A big shout out to the guys over at Pop It Please for sponsoring this video. Make sure to check them out. I'm Lebogang, this is Mzansi Business, and I'm out. Peace.